Hello everyone. This is Tobi from the Phuket Meditation Center, and you're listening to the Dharana Meditation Podcast. Let's sit together, calm the busy mind, and explore topics concerning character development, meditative training, and deeper self-knowledge.
Let's start by sitting upright. The head is gently suspended, the chin slightly tucked. Even though we're sitting upright, you're gonna have relaxed, soft posture. So not upright like a piece of wood, but both upright and relaxed, soft, comfortable. Taking a few deep, comfortable breaths. Breathe in a way that feels nice. That feels good. And as we sit here, breathing comfortably, adjusting the posture if necessary, we let everything naturally calm down a bit. Really taking some time to arrive fully on the cushion. As you're breathing in, you let body and mind come together, saturating the entire body with consciousness. feeling the whole body. And as you breathe out, releasing, softening, letting go of all the unnecessary tension throughout your body. Into the out-breath, we bring this sense of relief, as if all your problems would have been solved. There's absolutely nothing left to worry about. All is finally good. Also being at ease with the fact that you're not constantly conscious, that you're not constantly concentrated, aware. It's perfectly normal to drift off, to have thoughts, get lost in them. It's to be expected. It's not a big deal at all. Just noticing whenever you are distracted, that's nice, that's good. And coming back to just one mindful breath, just one. Feeling the body as you inhale and releasing as you exhale. Let the mind rest in this body, in this moment. And whenever you notice that you're drifting off into thoughts about the past, the future, just remember the body, remember this breath. Resting there. Just every now and then, we enjoy and appreciate just one conscious breath. We don't mind the rest. When you're not present, when you're distracted, it's not so important. What's really good and important is all those moments when you remember when you come back. That's what we mind. And each time when you're fully present with one breath, make sure to appreciate it, to encourage yourself. looking at what's right rather than what's wrong, looking at what works rather than what doesn't. Looking at what you do well rather than what you don't. And once your body is relaxed, at ease, and your mind is somewhat more calm, less erratic, we just let go of all willful activity and step into a mode of observing, just looking at what's happening while it happens. Just being aware of what's going on. Where is my attention right now? Might go to a sound. Might go to a feeling. Perhaps it goes to a thought, inner dialogue. Maybe it goes to your eyes, what you perceive with your eyes, changes of light, and so on. But we simply know that, just observing. There's nothing to change, nothing to control. You're kind of like a CCTV camera in the back of your head, just watching what goes on. watching what the body does, feeling, hearing, seeing. Smelling or tasting. And watching what the mind does. Complaining, waiting, hoping, trying, worrying, enjoying. Reacting. Developing an attitude that is quite relaxed with whatever happens, because things come and go. Thoughts come and go. Feelings come and go. And training yourself to watch instead of getting involved. There's really nothing to do other than to see, to know, to listen. To give space to the way things are. And in your own time, you can gradually come back, open your eyes, perhaps stretch a little bit if you feel like it. So here's an idea that we would intuitively grasp to, usually when we practice any form of meditative training or something like that, is this idea that you somehow can make your body and mind calm. And that's not quite how it works. You can't really make something calm. Calmness arises as a result of certain causes. And we work with this principle of causality in our practice. We understand that if this is, then that is. If this arises, that arises. If this ceases, that ceases. We're not really operating from a point of, I make this happen or I make this go away. But that's usually the idea that we are grasping when we start to practice, that you are somebody that's sitting down and meditating and you can somehow make stuff happen. Most people are not even quite sure what exactly it is they want to make happen. They have some vague idea of a calm mind, enlightenment, deeper insight and understanding, equanimity, balance, whatever. And we're trying to make that idea that we have of this state happen. So you have this idea of a calm mind, and then you're working on making this happen. Trying to produce a result, thinking of the result instead of tending to the cause. So what is the cause of the mind, say, calming down? Well, you could put it like this. The mind calms down when you stop interfering with it. The mind calms down upon a cessation of doing and willing and trying and so on. Then the mind calms down. Here by the mind, I mean the content, yes? I mean thinking and wondering, complaining, trying, reacting, and so on. All the mental stuff that will cease, it will fade, it will relax and become calm upon a cessation of the will. And how do we bring about the cessation of the will? It's by shifting from doing to knowing, from trying to observing. And we do that at our level. So if I say, look at yourself, look at your mind, look at what your experience is presenting in this moment, then you look at your level. You won't be able to fully step back and become a complete, pure observer. Nobody can do that in the beginning. It's not how we start out. Having an expectation as such that I should be pure awareness, I should be here as a pure observer, is an unrealistic expectation. Instead, you begin by just training the faculty of alertness to observe a little more than you usually would. For example, simply to know when your mind is talking to itself, to simply know that right now there is thinking. That's already observing. You're already becoming an observer to your own inner monologue or dialogue. Maybe you're in an emotional state, maybe you're sad or happy or whatever, and you become aware of that fact that there is sadness, there is happiness, and so on, then you are already stepping back. The mind, the doing mind, already withdraws into the observing mind a little more. You can think of that as the little Buddha, or the little observer, the little knower. That faculty is what you want to train. It's causal because it is release. It is release. That observation is releasing. When you step back and you know something, see something, listen to something, you've already released that something. What's the other mode? On one hand, if you're observing, you're stepping back, I say you are releasing. What if you're not observing? What if you're not stepping back? What mode are you in then? Well, that's called identification. You're feeling as if you are the thinker. You're feeling as if you are emotional. You are the emotion. And you don't even know what's going on because you're perceiving the entire world, everything around you, everything within you, from the vantage point of that emotion or of that thought, that perception. So if I'm angry, for example, I see an incredibly annoying world around me. I perceive people as very annoying. I perceive circumstances as upsetting. That's not because circumstances or people are actually annoying or upsetting. That's because I'm looking through anger. It's like looking at the world through stained glass or through a red-colored glass. Then, of course, I'm seeing lots of red-colored things. Everything assumes the color of anger. But that's not because things are actually red-colored. It's because the glass that I'm looking through is of red color. So my perception at that moment is the thing that I cannot see. But I see the world through it. Just like somebody that wears glasses, like myself right now, I do not see the glasses most of the time. They do not appear to me. Or like somebody wearing contact lenses. That's what you don't see. You're not seeing the contact lens, right? So you haven't released up to the point where you become aware of there being a perception, for example. There being anger. Because you're looking through it, at things. You don't see it yet. You see things through it. That's the problem with it. That's why we need to start at our level. So we observe as good as we can. For example, when you're angry, that means you see red things through your red glasses. You might not see the red glass yet, but you can see that, oh, the world appears red. I am annoyed right now. There is annoyance. And you see, there is a difference between saying I am annoyed versus there is annoyance. That's already indicating a stepping back. It's indicating some little form of release already. There is anger versus I am angry. I am angry indicates you're totally identified with an anger. You're acting out of it. You're acting the anger out. It's like being possessed. You don't know you're possessed. You just want to destroy the world around you. You have no idea that there is a force that's overcome you and that acts through your body, through your mind. Like when people get really drunk and then they act in ways that they would consider unusual. The shadow comes out. And they get really angry at their friends, or they're behaving in a very irrational way, all their usual public masks falling off. And then after that, they will say, when they see the devastation they have caused, they then will say, oh, I'm so sorry, I wasn't myself. But of course, yes, you've been yourself. Just another aspect of the self has shown itself that you usually try to suppress. An aspect that usually lives in the shadows. Your frustration, your anger, your bitterness, your disappointments. All that came out because the inhibitions fell away upon drinking. Just another aspect of the self, of the conditioned personality. And so we want to train ourselves to see these various aspects as they manifest, while they manifest. And then train ourselves not to react to them. Just watch. It's easier said than done. It's not coming natural by any means to just step back and watch. Especially watching ourselves. It's not easy. It's not something that we just do. It's unusual to observe your own emotion as it floats by. As if you're sitting by the side of a river and you're watching a boat float by. Or a couple of leaves. You just watch it float by. You're not doing anything to it. You're not trying to pick them and take them out. You're not standing to block the path. You're not working on the river itself to rearrange it in some special way. You just leave it be. You step out of the river. You step out of whatever you have been identified with, and you begin watching it, observing it. Sometimes people wonder, well, why does Tobi constantly talk about sitting still when you're practicing meditation? Why is that so important? Because it's the physical representation of what I'm just talking about. You're learning not to react to every little impulse that comes up in your body. Instead, you have that kind of you're pressed into that shape that you cannot escape from. And you cannot move in it. So the only thing you can do is watch. So we take some of the doing, some of the options that you have, we take that away. So you're more forced into non-reactivity, into observing, into watching. For example, you sit for 15 minutes or half an hour and you're simply not moving. You're going to be confronted by a whole lot of things that come up. Impatience, frustration, pain, and so on. All things that we usually just react to immediately and identify with immediately. It's not, oh, there is frustration. It arises, it passes. It's more like, I'm so frustrated right now, I want to move. I want to get out of here. I can't do this. I want to manage it. I want to do something about it. So every time you step into managing or doing mode, you're confirming again and again to yourself that you are the actor. You are the one that's doing stuff. The Buddha's path is, I would say, not solely about managing our suffering or doing something to it. It's about knowing it, most importantly. It's about knowing something, observing it, seeing it, listening to it. Because that's the mode that allows understanding. The cause of understanding is observing. If you want to understand yourself, you got to observe yourself. Every time you react, every time you're identified, you cannot understand. Just like the person that looks through the red glass doesn't understand the world as it is. Because they are not seeing the red glass. That what's to be understood would be the red glass. That's what we seek to understand and to know. Aha, the world appears in accordance with my perception. It appears in accordance with my emotional state, with my thoughts, with my beliefs. Whatever narrative you have up there, that will determine and condition the way the world appears to you. And it's liberating to step back and watch all those things happening, and to understand yourself more and more as an observer rather than an actor. That is liberating. What is confining and imprisoning and narrowing us down, weighing us down, is identification. It's grasping something and losing yourself in it. Then you become subject to whatever the conditioned process is. You've boarded the train and off you go. Who knows where? So we begin by observing the body and mind as follows. If I say observe the body, then what I mean is observe the five senses. Hearing sound, for example, or feeling sensations that flow through the body. Smelling, tasting. Really experiencing how these things are. And then when I say observe the mind, I would say learn to observe the reaction to the body. How do you react to feelings? Maybe the mind reacts to the feeling, or let's say the sound of a mosquito. You're sitting there, you're meditating, and then there's a mosquito coming to your ear. There's an experience of a sound. And then immediately it's followed by perception. You know what it is. Mosquito. Then it's followed immediately, the same moment basically, by a host of emotions that surround that perception of mosquito. And then that is followed by reacting to it. You're trying to do something about it. You go into managing mode. You start thinking up solutions. Should I just stop my meditation and maybe apply some mosquito spray? Should I light some incense? Should I move somewhere else? Start plotting. The mind starts plotting. And you're pulled into this plotting. You want to do something about it. And if you don't see all that, you will suddenly stand. And you will suddenly walk and look for a mosquito spray. That's how it works. I'm not saying that this is wrong and you should not get up and you should never get the mosquito spray. I'm saying that the key here that I'm talking about is observing, looking at all these things, how they build up. First, there's a physical perception, something that arises, a sound, a feeling, and so on. And there's a host of things that happen after that. If you can stay as an observer throughout all of that, it's pretty good. How far does your observing power reach? When do you get pulled back into it? I love practicing that with movies. If you're watching a movie or something like this, it's fantastic to externalize that a little bit as an exercise. Try to remain aware while watching a movie that you're watching a movie. Simply knowing that this is a movie. I'm watching a movie. You'll see that's quite difficult. You will have short moments in which you wake up and you're like, oh, that's a movie. I know that this is a movie. And then there is a moment when you black out. You don't know suddenly anymore. It's a movie. It just stopped. The knowing just stopped. The awareness just went away. You didn't do that. It's like falling asleep. You didn't do it. Ignorance just happened. Ignorance not as in stupidity again, but as in knowing, clear understanding of your situation right now in this moment. And of course, it's the same with our mind. The mental movies and the emotions and thoughts and so on that keep coming up to bother you, that you keep reacting to, like a fish that bites bait. That is to be understood clearly for what it is. So what is thinking? Well, it's normal. It's just thinking. What is emotion? It's normal. It's just emotion. What is anger? It's normal. It's just an emotion. All the things that arise within you at every given moment in your meditation practice, you gradually learn that all these things are normal, and everybody in this world experiences all those things. And if they're not experiencing it right now, I can guarantee you that the potential for such experience exists within all of us still. So you're capable of experiencing sadness, even though you're not experiencing right now. You're capable of experiencing hatred and anger, even though you might not experience it right now. Doesn't mean you're not capable of it. And for most of us, it doesn't take much to trigger those emotions and reactions at all. Doesn't take much at all. It's a thin line. Sometimes just as thin as the batteries of your phone. Suddenly you can't distract yourself, and you're on a long journey, and the electricity breaks down, you have no way of entertaining yourself, and you get frustrated, you get angry. That's how easy it is. So if we're easily disturbed when all our conveniences are taken away, well, all those disturbances that you think you're free from right now, they will come up. Why? Because it's normal. There's nothing wrong with you because you're experiencing anger or sadness or, I don't know, addictions and whatever. All these things are normal. And what we are learning when we practice meditation more and more is to not react to whatever arises. And with that, gain greater and greater degrees of freedom as we move along the path. So you discover that you don't have to react to those things. And later on, you will discover that non-reaction is actual freedom versus the impulsive getting lost in whatever comes up in your own consciousness. True freedom is to step outside of the box of yourself. And you can only do that by becoming the observer of yourself. You can't do that by becoming a different self. This is what a lot of people try to. I don't like who I am, so I would like to be like the guy that I really admire. That's not an escape. That's just replacing one problem with another. And it's endless like this. Oh, I don't like myself. I don't like who I am. I wish I was different. So let me try to manipulate myself into a different self, which I could then hopefully like. That won't work for long. Because with a different self, you have a whole different range of potentials and problems that are just waiting to unfold. So the solution is to train ourselves in wakefulness, in observing, in getting to know ourselves, and to gradually gain freedom by not having to impulsively react to whatever stimulus that arises in this moment. That is freedom. That is also power. That is also patience. And within that observation, there is the potential for wisdom to blossom. There is the potential for true insight, true understanding of those things. But first, learn to watch. Do not react to every single thing that comes up. No, you can only do that if you're taking some time every day or every other day or whatever it is that your schedule allows for, to just occasionally stop and watch. And simply acknowledge what goes on right now. I'm angry. Sometimes it's even really good to do that in a communication with someone else. To simply observe what is going on right now. Right now I'm angry. When you said that, it gave rise to a feeling of frustration. I'm at risk to lose myself in that frustration. It's an accurate observation of what is going on right now. It's a fact. Perhaps even more daring and more bold. I suffer. Please help me. But that would mean you have to be quite humble. You have to prefer truth over aggrandizing your little self. You have to prefer truth over fear, truth over hope. And all these skills come through observation. The skill to not react, the skill to step back, the skill to know what is true and what is not, to know yourself, to know others. All right, I think it's good enough for today. Well, thank you very much for coming. I'm surprised that so many of you came today. That's great.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and had a meaningful time. For more information and upcoming events, head over to our website at phuket-meditation.com. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.